Triston Marez has released his brand new debut self-titled album, and it's time to talk about it. Triston Marez is a country artist from Houston, Texas, and is somebody I've had my eye on for about 8 months now, ever since I heard his single Forgot About You, which I still love to this day. He's been releasing singles and EPs since 2017, but up until this point had never released an album. So going into this thing, I knew who Triston was, and I knew his general style, but I was interested to see how he would translate that into the context of a full-length LP. And for the most part, it held up nicely. One thing I like about this album is it tries new sounds, pushes Triston to the edge of his comfort zone while still feeling very tight. Often with debut records, you can get a mishmash of sounds and styles because the artist is still trying to figure out what direction they want to go. Triston, on the other hand, has been around for several years now. He's already developed his own smooth Texas style, and that helps this album keep focused. Production-wise, this album is very appealing. It's a really balanced blend of polished mainstream quality and Texas instrumentation, and also has some consistent rock undertones, or even times where the songs are just straight up rock. Very comparable to Cody Johnson's last record, Ain't Nothing to It. However, the issue with Triston's album is at times I think it can be a little overproduced and in turn can feel heavy or droning. This unnecessary weight is often tied to the percussion, which I find too loud in many parts. Take, for example, the third track, Reasons to Stay, where within the first 10 seconds the percussion already comes crashing in. I'm not against percussion, I think it enhances the energy a lot of these tracks bring in the chorus, but during the verses, specifically the first verse, I think simply turning the volume down on the drums would have been nice. I mean, if you listen to Reasons to Stay, all you hear in that first verse is the massive drums going like boom, bam, boom, bam. The droning tone I discussed earlier can also probably be quickly attributed to the loud electrics blaring throughout lots of these choruses. When you pair overly loud percussion with equally loud, thick, saturated electric guitars all at once, the final product can sometimes end up feeling watery. This by no means is a make or break issue I have. It's a minor thing, just my personal preference. I enjoy the breezier, countryer moments like She's Had Enough of Texas, Texas Swing, or When She Calls Me Cowboy, as opposed to the more rock and roll moments on this thing. It just sounds a little too much for Triston at times. Although I think there is an exception in the closing track, Drink About Me, a song that reaps the rewards of a slow build. It's not heavy drums in the verse and then everything in the chorus. As the track goes on, we slowly get introduced to newer instruments, and also, there's lots of instrumental breaks throughout that let the soaring electrics fly freely rather than taking away from Triston's incredible voice. It creates a very satisfying climax to the album and easily my favorite rock moment on the record. As I said though, my favorite moments on this thing are the more traditional country moments. Triston's voice has this sharp treble edge to it that can really cut through some smooth country instrumentation, whereas I think it almost just blends in as general sound on some of the heavier tracks. My favorite track is easily Texas Swing. I love the accordion, the whole two-step groove it's got going. It's got the smoothest and one of the catchiest hooks on the entire record. It's also one of the lighter tracks being offered here, and Triston just fits like a glove on this style. It's why I love Forgot About You. Triston's delivery is naturally smooth, so when you compare that with appropriately smooth production, he really strikes gold. Lyrically, this album is nothing earth-shattering. It's pretty standard and average for a Texas country album. That's no slander to the project, but there's no songwriting moments here that are gonna stop you dead in your tracks. This album is more of a showcase of production and Triston's voice rather than the lyrical introspective side of Triston. However, with that in mind, there is most definitely still lyrical highlights on this thing. The standout for me is Day Drinking. The lyrics of this song just flow from one to the other, almost like how a Dr. Seuss story just keeps building on the previous page. The first verse of this track reads, "Angry words led to slamming doors, and slamming doors led to country roads, and country roads led to interstates, you know. Interstates led to moving on, and moving on led to left behind, and left behind led to wishing you would come back home." And then the chorus just continues this path until we wind up at Day Drinking and what that leads to. It's just a funny song that lyrically feels like a hallway where you just keep opening a new door, and there's always another waiting behind it. It's a really fun listen. So, overall, this album didn't necessarily blow my socks off lyrically or production-wise, with some obvious exceptions. However, that's not to say this album wasn't great. It was an incredibly satisfying listen, and though I wasn't a fan of the more rock moments on this thing, I would be a fool to sit here and say they weren't well done. The production, no matter which route they took, was very tastefully crafted with some exceptions. It's a fantastic album to just have playing around the house on a sunny day, and I really enjoyed it. Moving forward, I would like to see Triston lean more towards the country sounds. Just lighter songs overall, I think he knocks out of the park. Lyrically, no complaints either. The songwriting on this thing gets the job done, but moving forward, maybe some more personal songs would be nice. Personal can be a bunch of things. It doesn't mean slow, introspective acoustic moments, but I think a lot of these songs easily could have been cut by other artists and would have sounded just at home, so maybe Triston carving out his own lyrical path in the future. Rating-wise, I'm going to give this one a 7. If you haven't listened to it yet, I would strongly encourage you to. Triston is someone that I've really become a fan of over this last little while, and seeing his debut album is so consistent and quality, it only gets me more excited for where he's going to go. So, that's all I've got for you guys today. Be sure to comment below what you thought of this album, like if you enjoyed. If you're new, consider subscribing for more country music content. Links to my Discord and Instagram are in the description. And yeah, until next time, have a great day.